Today we continue our supermarket odyssey, but this time we're switching supermarkets from Tesco to Asda with this brand new beer from them, a double IPA, a Collab collection from Full Circle Brew. But what's it going to be like? Keep watching to find out. Welcome back to Rocker's Beer Review. Today, more supermarket beers. Are you getting fed up with them? Well, I must admit, I think I am actually. I've got some other beers that I've ordered, so I will be back to normal sort of beers soon. But I know that everyone loves these supermarket beer reviews because I get probably about 3 times the number of views than I do my normal videos. So we'll continue until I get really fed up. But this is one I picked up from Asda. I got this one and a North Brew. This is from Full Circle Brew Co. It's just called Double IPA. It hasn't actually got a name by the looks of things. It says it's a No.2 Collab collection, a double IPA with intense hoppiness, and it's exclusive to Asda. Which is a funny thing, really. I'm going to say that at the beginning. I like to try and get my admin out at the beginning. So Sainsbury's have got these new beers in. And you think, my Sainsbury's are completely redesigned the place. So the beer's in a different area. It all looks like there's more shelf room for beers. And you think, oh, wow, this is great. When you look through them, though, I'll put that down with my hands all hurting. When you look through them, though, there's a lot of stuff that we've seen before. So we've got things like Transient. Right, okay, that's never been in Sainsbury's before, but it's been in Morrison. So that's new for Sainsbury's, but not new for supermarkets. We've also got one called Buzzkill, which is from Mad Squirrel. And I thought, oh, that's a new one, Buzzkill. Haven't reviewed that before. But when I look closely at it, Roadkill is exactly the same beer. It just changed its name. So I don't understand what that is. And it's definitely the same one because it had 5 different hops in it, which is excessive anyway. But both of them exactly the same hops, everything. Maybe they didn't like the Roadkill seemed as a bit, I don't know, controversial. It's a bit woke, so they had to change it to Buzzkill for some reason. But that's the same beer. We've got Just Two Bodies by Polly's. That was a really good pale ale, one of the first Polly's that got into Sainsbury's, and they've obviously put it back in there. But it hasn't been in there for a while, so obviously there's that one. So none of them are new. We've got things like ZZ Hop, which is again a session stroke pale, and that's 4.3% from Arbor Ales. Now I've had that beer before. I think it was called something different than ZZ Hop, but it's exactly the same beer again. So I probably won't be buying that because it's in a smaller can, and it was an okay beer, but it's 4.3%. I don't drink that low. So there's those ones. And then there's a few others that I've completely forgotten. I think we've got a new one from Vault City, but that's also in Tesco, a strawberry something or other. And then there was other ones like there's a milkshake IPA, which is not one of my favourite sort of types of beer styles. There's one from there's another one I think which has got a fruit in it as well, and then there's one from Tiny Rebel that also seems a bit strange. So there's loads of different stuff, but there's quite a few that we've either seen before, been repackaged or whatever. But anyway, God, I don't know why I even bothered with that. Let's get this beer into a glass and drink it, and I'll see if it's all right. Because 3 minutes in, and you're thinking, I want to know what this Full Circle beer from Asda. So the reason why I was talking about that was obviously this has come in with a thing that says exclusive to Asda. So it's obviously they brewed it in partnership, etc., etc. We're unlikely to see this one, anywhere else and stuff like that. So this is a double IPA, and I'm quite surprised the amount of double IPAs. And actually, I say I do my admin. I'm completely going off the rails with this one. So I haven't told you what hops are in it. So let's tell you what hops are in it first. So Cryopop, Columbus, Citra, and Galaxy. Some good sort of hops in there. We've got the New World Cryopop's reasonably new, lots of flavour. Galaxy, Citra's good. Columbus is something that we don't see that much, but to be honest, it's one of those sort of, when it pops up, it's usually popping up in a supermarket beer for some reason. And the other weird thing is that why is there so many double IPAs in supermarkets? I would have thought that these are even more expensive to make and sell because of the duty and stuff. But there seems to be a lot more doubles than we've seen before. I don't know what the process is on that. But anyway, this beer, we've got a brightly coloured well, I say brightly coloured. It's a bright orange coloured beer. Looks quite thick. We've got literally a finger, pretty loose, just off white head. But that is definitely, it's beyond your custard. It's got a much darker shade of orange in there, but it looks very, very hazy. Looks pretty good. See what the aroma's like. Ooh, okay. So lots of stone fruits. Peach and apricot, mango, that sort of stuff. Yeah, I'm picking up most of that sort of stuff, stone fruit, and sort of hinting on the sort of tropical side. Not really picking much up in the way of citrus. Well, that's usually the case when you've got these sort of beers that are very heavy on the stone fruits. So let's see what it tastes like. Cheers, everyone. Okay. Okay. Supermarket beers. There's such a quandary when it comes to coming up with flavours. It's almost like beers that bottle shop beers where you're paying more money. I don't know. They're easier to unpack. There's orange and passion fruit coming through. There's peach and mango in there in the background, but it's all a little bit muddled. There's a sweetness of flavour that is just about hold itself back from getting to an artificial sort of sweetness when you start thinking, is these really hops in here? Body-wise, it's fairly light. There's a little bit of zingy carbonation in this. The alcohol, 8%, is pretty well hidden. I think it's just there's an element of sweetness in there that just sort of hides the alcohol. I'll read the blurb a little bit more, so maybe you can unpack it as much as I can. Okay, so it's a blend of Cryopop, Columbus, Citron, Galaxy hops. Ensure that this beer delivers refreshing citrus and tropical fruit notes. So the citrus is definitely orangey citrus. Very intense hoppiness and deep aroma. The addition of a jumbo oats provides a rich, creamy thickness to the beer, and the low to medium bitterness balances out the fruity sweetness. I sort of disagree with some of that. There's definitely sweetness in this beer. There is a sweetness and a slightly creaminess, and maybe that's the bit that's coming up to the artificial. God, it's so easy to drink though. It's one of those beers that it's quite moreish because of the sweetness, I think. I don't know whether jumbo oats make it a little bit, give that sweetness as well. Maybe they do. You make you think that there's a sweetness that comes off that process, wouldn't you? But I don't know. It's drinkable. How much did this cost? I think this was one of the ones that was only just over £3 for a double IPA. It's a nice level of fruity flavours. It's very muddled in terms of flavour. Tropical, more stone fruits. I'm not really picking up much in the way of like lemon or grapefruit, really. There's not much else coming into this. Very stone fruit heavy. And there's a little bit of that sort of passion fruit and an orangey flavour that I always think is... It's very difficult to distinct orange and passion fruit. There is a more of a tropicalness about it, so you'd think more passion fruit, but it's not bad. It's not bad at all, in fact. The more I drink it, the more I think, yeah, I quite like it. I'm thinking about how good it is in terms of value for money. But then I also think of some great double IPAs I've had, and this is like... It's not like it at all. There's something about it. I can't put my finger on it. I just think it's just that the hoppiness is not quite there. There's flavour, but there's not hoppiness. And you're left with this... It's like a supermarket thing. It's almost like as if like some sort of special supermarket ingredient goes into every beer that's in supermarkets. There's a slight... I suppose and I'm going to say the word which I'll struggle to say, astringency, bitterness. And it was that sort of flavour that I was getting with the Brewdog beer, which held it right back. I mean, it was still a good beer for supermarket, but there was that flavour. And this has got something similar about it. You know, you're not getting the alcohol, but you get this sort of astringent, I don't even know if that's the right word, but you know what I mean. Astringency, that bitterness that's like dry bitterness. Not quite bitter, but just a different sort of flavour that you're not really expecting and you don't really want, actually. You know, there's some beers that will have, I mean, double IPAs generally, if it's a New England style, which this is obviously a New England style, you don't really, even with an 8% beer, you don't really get bitterness. The thing that, the challenge, I suppose, is that if it's a double IPA, there's more it's a much more hoppier than you would with an IPA, for example. And so that hoppiness brings different sort of flavours. And I'm not talking about the fruit stuff, I'm talking about other sort of flavour, sort of characteristics. Not quite bitterness, but hoppiness. Now, hoppiness, again, can be positive and negative, you know, because like you want hoppiness, you want to sort of really feel like there's real flavour and real sort of flavour that sticks around. But sometimes there's too much hoppiness and you get that hop burn, and then that's confused with alcohol burn, and you think, oh, it's 8%, oh, it must be alcohol. But this, you're not getting a hoppy burn flavour. You're not really getting an alcohol warmth flavour, but you're getting something else that's different. And your brain says it's different, but why is it different? And it's that slightly artificial astringency. I love saying that word. That artificial flavour that's sort of like bitterness, but it's not bitterness. There's almost like a little tartness in there as well. It's difficult to describe. I'm sure there's been someone out there, wordsmiths out there, probably can describe it better. But me, I'm more maths than English, as it were. So I struggle to really sort of put together the words that I'm trying to show the meaning of it. But I hope you guys understand that, because there's a lot of these double IPAs in supermarkets, high ABV, 8%. You know, God, a lot of people that don't drink craft beer will go 8%. That's scary. That's a scary number. And you drink this, and it's not like, say, that beer I had, the 8% one I had from Buxton, which was very much, didn't have any sort of fruit flavours, was very sort of bitter, was obviously a very West Coast sort of beer. And it's a different sensation to that, this 8%. I'm really struggling to explain it, but hopefully you guys, you watch the channel, if you watch any of my videos, and I'm sure there's a lot of guys now that I say guys because I know that most of you are guys, opposed to girls, that have probably followed a lot of these recent supermarket beers that I've drank. And maybe you drank them yourself, but maybe tell me that I'm not talking rubbish. There is a different sort of flavour for these supermarket beers. It seems to be more in these double IPAs. It's just a flavour that you don't get. I mean, if I've drank a Polly's double IPA or a Rivington double IPA, and I think they're the very good ones. So let's go look at my shelf. The Asda double IPAs I've had recently, my shelf is very sort of singular at the moment in terms of brands, and the track ones, for example. I mean, even the gold tops, but excluding those, I don't get this flavour that I'm getting with this beer, or the Brewdog double IPA, and I don't know what it is. Is it some sort of artificialness where there's less hoppiness? Is it just to do with some sort of brewing process that keeps makes it cheaper to make the beer? I don't know what it is. If anyone knows, please let me know, because I feel like I'm going a little bit mad with some of these beers recently. But this beer is finished. It's palatable, it's fruity, it's amazingly cheap for the money. It's not bad at all for a supermarket beer, but yes, I'm going to have to pay probably double the price to get a double IPA that's better than this. But you won't have that sort of, that weird sort of dry bitterness on the back end, which I can't, astringent, I'm going to say again, astringency. I think that's the word. bitterness that's almost like an artificial bitterness that doesn't sit right within the beer. But let's get some scores. And of course, scores are live now, so I can do them here and now if I can still reach for my pen. So this Full Circle double IPA. I wish they put names on some of these. It's just simple stuff, you know. How can you say, oh, remember that beer I had in Asda? Yeah, what was it called? It was called double IPA. No one's going to know that. How can you get that brand recognition? Marketing guys at Asda or at Full Circle Brew, you need to put names on there. You need to get some name recognition. A simple marketing 101, that is. Right, okay. Let's do the scores. Starting with aroma. I can't even smell it now because I drank it. I thought the aroma was certainly pleasant. There's lots of sort of stone fruits and peach sort of stuff. Aroma, I'm giving it, it was pleasant. I'm giving it 14 for aroma. Appearance, well, I think it looked pretty good. It has that nice dark orangey, very hazy ability. It's a standard 8 for me though for that. Flavour wise, I mean, the flavour's quite pleasant, but there's this weird bitterness. So I'm giving it was very drinkable, but there's that weirdness in the background. So I'm giving it 33 for flavour. Value for money, I mean, you'd think I should give it 10, but it's not quite perfect beer. So I'll give it 9 because you're paying just over. I'm sure this one was just over. Yeah, it was, because I bought 4 beers, and the most expensive one was one that I'd had before, the Vocation Asoka, the New Zealand type one. Now I'm sure that was definitely 375 or 376, some weird number, and all the others were £3 and 3 pence or something like that. And so this one was part of that. £3, and of course if you bought 4 of them, it comes really cheap. So I can't give it 10 because it's not a really tasty, great beer. It's a good beer, but not a great beer. So I'm giving it 9 for value. And then my overall experience, well, again, due to that sort of weird bitterness, artificialness flavour, I've got to knock back quite a few points for that. So I'm giving it 14 for overall, because any beer that I've necked down before an end of a review has to be commended. I know it's Friday. For me here, it's Friday night. This will probably go out maybe Saturday. But I've really enjoyed it. I've drank it down and I've really got into it. So anyway, let's get the scores. So we got 14, 18, that's 22, 55, 64, 74. Still pretty good score, really. 78 out of 100 total score. So how does that compare? Well, obviously it's much better than the Wyoming Sheep Ranch, or whatever that was called. It's not quite up there with the Pinball from Brewdog, which surprises me. But 78 actually better than the Galactic Matter. Not quite up there with Fresh Pulp, which I still think is the best out of these new supermarket beers that I've had over this week. And obviously, and better than the Incognito, which was another double IPA, but it was a more of a West Coast. So it's not bad, and I think really everyone should give it a go, because if it's just over £3, you should give it a go. So if Asda is your local supermarket, pick this up and see what you think. But I tell you, if you had this one and I say Ashoshka, but I think it's good. It's something like that. It's a Vocation New Zealand double IPA, 8%. I had it because I had it in between doing these reviews. 8%, reviewed it, drank it, and thought, this is a really, really good supermarket double IPA. I'd go as far as say it's the best. It's definitely the best supermarket double IPA that I think's out there. And it could almost be the best actual beer in supermarkets. But if you're going to Asda, pick this up and see what you think. And then, as I say, I've got the North one to come. But this isn't bad. And this video is, oh God, it's really too long. So I'm going to stop there. Hope you've enjoyed it. Hope you haven't been too weirdly baffled by some of my ramblings. But until the next one, like, subscribe, drink good craft beer, and keep on rocking.